It is so difficult to build a financial-free future when you work a 9-to-5 job, and it is mainly our dream to be financially free. But most of people has been trying this for a long time without getting anywhere closer. Some even open up a personal savings, in which they would not touch. But the plan was eventually destroyed by inflation. So that means if we must ever want to get closer to financial freedom, we must consider avoiding inflation as much as we could. And the best step to achieving this goal is investing your money. I am going to show you in today's video the best investment you could start, and you will not have to work again in your entire life. So let's dive in. Number 1 is real estate. If you are wanting to be financially free, you would probably have a cash-flowing business or investment. But what I mentioned earlier is that we must have a business or an investment that is not affected by inflation or recession. And one of the best investment you could venture into is the real estate. Yes, you have often heard of it many times before now, because it is still the best form of investment out there. You do not have to be an expert investor to get started. The most interesting fact about the real estate is that you could start with little amount that you have if you apply the right strategy. You would have someone to pay it for you. How does this happen? Or how do you get started? What is mostly done is that if you could not afford the property, one will need to take a mortgage. Such person will have to first make a deposit of around 20% of his total mortgage loan. After paying the 20% mortgage loan, he will be given the loan with the interest rate. For example, if you were to purchase a property worth about $100,000 and you were to take a mortgage loan, you would have to pay 20% of the whole loan as down payment, which would be around $20,000 before you will be credited with the loan. What most of the investors would do is that they will rent out the house. Why are the investors doing this? It is because they would use the monthly or yearly rent to pay up the loan so they would not be under panic or work their butt off. This is a good way to go because they would still be banking in consistent money monthly or year when they have paid off their mortgages. This is wonderful. Some people would even sell off the house for a higher price when they are done with paying their mortgages and still make big profit up to 20 to 30%. I would recommend the real estate investment to people who want to get started because it is not affected by inflation rise, meaning that you would not lose the value. Number 2 is dividend stock. It is a great way to get started with investment. Dividend stock is a great source of passive income, and it is beginner friendly. But you cannot just wake up one day and say that you want to start investing into the dividend stock. That would be so wrong as a beginner. You have to educate yourself about it so you would not make huge mistakes that would let you lose all your money. Before you can start investing into dividend stock, you have to use a company that has a good history and also a good reputation. And another thing that I would advise is that you invest with companies with a good percentage in profit return. Oil companies usually have high percentages on profit returns, usually between 5% to 8% more or lesser. Another thing you should bear in mind is that if you have a little capital invested, you would make little profit yearly. For example, if you invested like $100 at a 5% interest rate, you would be receiving $5 yearly. But if you have a bigger capital, you would be receiving bigger interest. For example, if you have like $100,000 invested in the dividend stock at a 5% interest rate, that means you would be receiving $5,000 yearly. Some investors usually reinvest their profit back into the company so as to grow their portfolio. But you should know that this kind of investment is not for a short term, but for a long term. And not to forget, the tax rate is usually very low compared to the normal income tax. Number 3 is a cash flowing business. Another area you can get started with is a cash flowing business. To start a business is not an easy challenge. One needs many things to get started. It is not only money that is involved. You must be prepared mentally and physically, which also involves good health condition. But if you have a desire to start a cash flowing business, you must also know that you would have workers that you would pay and also some other form of payments. In case you cannot start from scratch, you also have the option to be a co-investors, because there are a lot of businesses that needs investors. Just make sure you do not take the wrong move. Make your research properly. Apart from owning a physical business, you can also start an online business where you provide services or value to other people in return for money. Most importantly, when you want to get started with business, you must choose a business that is resistant against inflation and recession like food, health, and online businesses, because a lot of businesses are ruined when inflation strikes. So be careful out there. Number 4 is gold. Gold is one of the best type of investment that you can get started with as a beginner or experienced investor. Gold is almost like the real estate business, because gold appreciates in value when inflation increases in its rate. So gold is one of the best way in which you can protect your money or your assets against inflation. So many investors use it against inflation, and this can be a good opportunity for you to make a lot of wealth. You just have to take the right step of investment when gold is cheap and wait till it appreciates in value. Number 5 is short selling. Another way of making good investment is short selling. In case you do not know how short selling works, short selling are usually used to make great money by experienced investors. And this is how it works. An investor would go to borrow some amount of stocks from a broker with the agreement of returning it with interest. After the investor borrows the stocks, he would then go to the open market to sell those stocks. Let me make use of example. Let's say an investor go and borrow around 1,000 stock from a broker, and the stock is worth $100 per stock. That means he won $100,000 in total stocks. So what the investor will do next is to wait for the stocks to go down, maybe by 50%. Then he would remove $50,000 from the initial $100,000 that he sold. He would then use the $50,000 to buy 1,000 stocks and return it back to the broker with interest, meaning that he has profited about $45,000 because of the interest he paid. What a fantastic business! Number 6 is cryptocurrency. This is another way you can invest your money is in the cryptocurrency. The cryptocurrency is gradually taking over the world. And one thing I love about the crypto is that it cannot be manipulated by the government, unlike other currencies. And also, its value is not affected by inflation. But the downside to crypto is that it is highly volatile, means that it's not stable. It changes from time to time. Number 7, which is the last, is what is called startup or growth companies. This kind of investment comes with high rewards in terms of profit, and also do not forget that it also has high level of risk. If you take a look at Amazon or Tesla or any other company out there, you would not predict 20 years ago that Amazon or even the Apple company would have been so successful as this. But if you are thinking of going into this type of investment, you have to be experienced in this type of field, because you could easily lose your money. So let me know your thought on this. See you in the next. Bye for now.